This is the story of a man who tried everything. He read the books. He woke up early. He worked through lunch. He wrote goals in a notebook every Sunday night for 3 years. He did all the right things, and for 3 years, nothing changed. Until one night, 5 minutes before he closed his eyes, he did something so small, it almost seemed foolish. That one small thing reset something deep inside his mind, and by morning, without even knowing it, his life had begun to move in a different direction. What he did in those 5 minutes, you will find out very soon, and when you do, you may never go to bed the same way again. Before we continue, what time are you watching this right now, and where are you from? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one, and if stories like this speak to you, please like this video and subscribe. It means more than you know. In a crowded city that never fully went quiet, there lived a 29-year-old man named Daniel. Daniel worked as a data entry clerk at a logistics company. Every morning at 8 a.m., he sat down at the same gray desk under the same flickering tube light and typed numbers into the same spreadsheet until 6 p.m. Then he took a crowded bus home. His apartment was small. The walls were thin enough that he could hear his neighbor's television through them every night. There was a single window that looked out onto a concrete wall, a ceiling fan with one broken blade that wobbled every time it spun, a narrow bed pushed into the corner, and on the floor beside it, a growing pile of self-help books he had read and forgotten. Every night Daniel came home, ate whatever was easy, and sat on the edge of his bed. Then he did what he always did. He picked up his phone. He scrolled. News that made him anxious. Friends from school who looked like they were living lives he had imagined for himself. Advertisements for things he could not afford. He scrolled until his eyes burned, until the screen was the only light left in the room. Then he put the phone down, stared at the ceiling fan, wobbling in the dark, and let his mind go where it always went. The promotion he did not get, the business idea he had written down 2 years ago and never started. His father, who called every week and said, "Son, when will things get better for you?" And Daniel would say, "Soon, Papa, I am working on it." But even as he said it, he did not believe it. He fell asleep, carrying all of it, and every morning he woke up, already tired. The strange thing was this: Daniel was not lazy. He was one of the hardest workers in his office. His manager knew it. His colleagues knew it. He showed up early. He stayed late. He had taken 3 online courses in the past year. He had applied for 11 jobs. He had tried meditating, journaling, planning, and positive thinking. But every morning felt like the morning before. He would think to himself, "What am I doing wrong? I am following every piece of advice I have ever read. Why does nothing move?" He did not know it yet, but the problem was not his mornings. It was not his discipline. It was not his effort. The problem was what he was doing in the last 5 minutes before he fell asleep. Those 5 minutes, the ones he had never once thought about, were quietly deciding the direction of everything else. He just did not know it yet. Then one evening in October, the call came. His younger brother's voice was bright on the phone. "Daniel, I have news. I got the promotion. senior manager. Can you believe it? Daniel said the right things. He said congratulations. He said he was proud. He said they should celebrate soon. Then he hung up and sat on the edge of his bed, in the dark. He did not feel angry. He did not feel sad. He felt something quieter than both, something hollow. He looked at the ceiling fan, wobbling above him. He whispered to the empty room, "Is this it? Is this just what my life is going to be?" No one answered. He reached for his phone out of habit. Then he stopped. He put it face down on the floor. He did not know why. He just could not do it tonight. He sat there in the silence for a long time. And that night, that specific night, something happened that he had not planned for. Something that would take less than 5 minutes. Something a woman in a small garden would show him. Something that would change the instructions he gave his mind before sleep. Forever. Daniel did not sleep that night. Not right away. He sat on the edge of his bed for a long time. Then, without planning to, he stood up, put on his shoes, and walked outside. The street was quiet. The city had finally settled into something close to stillness. Most windows were dark. A dog barked somewhere far away. The air smelled like rain that had not arrived yet. He walked without direction, past the tea stall with its shutters pulled down, past the bus stop with its broken bench, past the small buildings that all looked the same in the dark. And then he stopped. At the end of a narrow lane, there was a tiny garden pressed between two old buildings. It was nothing impressive. A few pots, some climbing plants, a small patch of soil that someone had clearly tended with great care. And sitting beside it, on a low wooden stool, was an old woman. She was not doing anything. She was simply sitting. Her hands rested in her lap. Her eyes were open, looking at nothing in particular. And the expression on her face was something Daniel had not seen in a long time on anyone. Peace. Not the peace of someone who had given up, the peace of someone who had figured something out. Daniel almost walked past, but something made him stop. "Excuse me," he said. "Why are you sitting outside so late?" The woman looked up at him without surprise, as if she had been expecting someone to ask. "Because this is my favorite time," she said. "The world is quiet, and quiet is when things grow." Daniel looked at the small garden. "Do you come out here every night?" "Every night. For 30 years, she said. She gestured at the patch of soil beside her. "Sit, if you like." He sat on the ground. He did not know why. He just did. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then the woman picked up a small handful of soil and held it in her open palm. "Do you know why a farmer plants seeds in the evening?" Daniel shook his head. "Because the night does the work," she said. "You do not plant a seed at noon under a harsh sun and expect it to take root. You plant it in the cool, dark earth, in the quiet, and you let the darkness do what only the darkness can do." She let the soil fall slowly from her hand. "The seed does not grow in the light. It grows in the dark, while the farmer is sleeping, while the world is still." She looked at Daniel. "Your mind works the same way." Daniel felt something shift inside him, something quiet, like a door opening in a room he had forgotten existed. What you put into your mind in the last 5 minutes
before you sleep, she continued, is what your mind tends to all night long. It is the seed you are planting, and your mind, just like this soil, does not question what you give it. It simply grows whatever you plant. She paused. What do you plant before you sleep? Daniel thought about it honestly. The scrolling, the replaying of failures, the comparison, the hollow feeling he carried to bed every night, like a bag he could not put down. He did not answer. He did not need to. She could see it. Most people, she said gently, plant fear before they sleep. They plant regret. They plant the evidence of everything that has not worked. And then they wonder why they wake up already defeated. She looked back at her garden. You would not throw weeds into your soil and expect flowers, but that is exactly what most people do to their minds. Every single night, Daniel stared at the small patch of dark soil in front of him. So what do I plant instead? He asked. She held up one finger. 5 minutes, she said. That is all it takes. But these 5 minutes must be the last 5 minutes before your eyes close. Not before dinner, not before your phone. The last 5 minutes, after everything else. She told him the 3 steps. The first 2 minutes, she said, you release the day. You do not review it. You do not judge it. You simply breathe and let it go, like water, leaving your hands. When you open them, the day is done. It cannot be changed. Let it go, completely. Daniel nodded slowly. The second 2 minutes, she continued, you see one image, not a list of goals, not a plan. One clear image of what your life looks like when it is good. A moment, a feeling, a version of yourself that already exists somewhere ahead of you. You see it clearly. You feel it as if it is already true, not hoping, feeling. She let that land. And the final minute, she said, you find one true thing to be grateful for, not something forced, not something you feel you should say, something real, something you genuinely feel, even if it is small, even if it is just the fact that you are still breathing and still trying. She folded her hands back in her lap. Then you sleep. You do not touch your phone. You do not speak. You simply close your eyes and let the night do the work. Daniel sat quietly for a moment. Does it actually work? He asked. She smiled, the kind of smile that does not need to argue. Do this for 21 nights, she said. Not 20. Not when you feel like it. Every single night, 5 minutes before you close your eyes. She looked at him steadily. After 21 nights, you will not need me to tell you whether it worked. You will already know. She did not give him a number to call. She did not ask for his name. She simply turned back to her garden, as if the conversation had reached exactly where it needed to go. Daniel stood up. He said thank you. She nodded once. He walked home in the dark, and for the first time in 3 years, he felt something he had almost forgotten existed. Direction. That night, Daniel did not pick up his phone. He sat on the edge of his bed. He closed his eyes. He tried the first step. It felt strange. His mind resisted. Thoughts came rushing in. The phone call from his brother, the spreadsheet waiting for him tomorrow, the 11 job applications, with no response. He kept releasing them, opening his hands, letting the water go, Then the image. He tried to find one clear image of his life when it was good. His mind kept offering words instead of pictures. He pushed gently until something appeared. Himself, sitting at a desk by a wide window, sunlight on his hands, working on something that mattered. He held it. He tried to feel it. Then one true thing. He thought of his father, calling every week, without fail. That was real. He felt it, genuinely. Then he slept. Night 1. It felt incomplete, almost silly. His mind wandered more than it settled. Night 5. He almost forgot. He had already pulled the blanket up when he remembered. He sat back up in the dark and did all 3 steps from memory. It took 4 minutes. He slept faster than usual. Night 8. He noticed something he could not fully explain. He was waking up without the immediate weight he had carried every morning for years. Not light exactly, but lighter. A co-worker stopped him in the corridor. "Daniel, you seem different this week. Did something change?" He smiled and said, "I changed something small before bed." She looked at him as if waiting for more. He just shook his head and walked on. Night 12. The image he had been planting at night started appearing during his day without him summoning it. He was in a meeting, listening to his manager speak, when he thought, "I could run something like this, not as a wish, as a quiet fact." Night 14. He applied for a position he would have previously talked himself out of before even opening the form. He filled out the entire application in one sitting. His hands did not hesitate. Night 18. His phone was still face down on the floor. It had been there since the first night. Those 5 minutes had become the most protected part of his day. More protected than his lunch. More protected than anything. Night 21. He did not even need to search for the image. The moment he closed his eyes, it was already there, waiting, clear and steady, like something that had always belonged to him. He lay in the dark after finishing the 3 steps, and he thought, "This is what it feels like to give your mind the right instructions." 3 weeks after that night in the lane, Daniel received an email. It was from the company he had applied to on night 14. They wanted him to come in for an interview. He read it twice. Then he put his phone down and looked at the window, not the concrete wall outside it, the light coming through it. He got the job. It was not a miracle. It was not luck. It was a version of himself that had been quietly assembling in the dark, night after night, while he slept. 6 months later, Daniel still did the ritual every single night, not because his life was still hard. His life was genuinely better now. New role, new desk, a window with an actual view. His father had called last week and said, "Son, you sound different. You sound like yourself, again." Daniel had not known how to explain it, so he had simply said, "I started sleeping better, Papa." But the 5 minutes were not just a habit anymore. They were the most important part of his day. On the good nights and the hard nights, both. On the nights he felt proud of himself, and on the nights he did not. He still sat on the edge of his bed, still closed his eyes, still released the day, held the image, found the one true thing. because he understood now what he had not understood before. Sleep is not the end of your day. It is the beginning of the work your mind does when you are not watching. My friend, Daniel's story is not unique. What he discovered is available to you tonight, right now, before you close your eyes. Sleep is rest, but the last 5 minutes before sleep are not rest. They are instructions. Instructions you give to the deepest part of your mind. You are already giving those instructions every night, whether you choose to or not. Fear or intention, regret or possibility, old evidence or a new image. You are already planting something. The only question is, what? So here is what you do tonight. 3 steps, 5 minutes. That is all. Step 1, close your eyes and release the day. Do not review it. Open your hands and let the water go. Step 2, find one clear image of your life when it is good. Not a list, one image. Hold it, feel it, as if it is already true. Step 3, find one thing you are genuinely grateful for. Something real. Say it quietly, to yourself, and mean it. Then sleep. Phone face down. Lights off. Let the night do the work. Do this for 21 nights, not 20. Every single night. And on night 21, you will not need anyone to tell you whether it worked. You will already know. You are not someone whose mind is working against them. You are someone who has simply been planting the wrong seeds before bed. Tonight, that changes. Tonight, you plant something different. If this story gave you something, give this video a like right now. Then drop a comment. What is the one image you are going to plant in your mind tonight? Share this with someone who goes to bed carrying the weight of the day. Subscribe for more stories like this one. Every week, a new story, a new lesson, a new reason to believe that small things done consistently change everything. Remember what Daniel came to understand. You do not build a life in the daylight alone. The most important work happens in the dark.